Hi everybody, this is Mr. Michael DiMucci with our very first Art Doodle how-to. During our Art Doodle today, we're going to be drawing some flowers in a flower pot and adding some texture using pen and ink techniques. So the first thing you're going to need is your permanent marker from your Art Doodle kit that you purchased from us. And we're going to go ahead and start with three simple shapes. I'm going to draw a long line and then turn it into a small bar. It's kind of like a stick. These are going to be the stems of the flowers. I'm going to draw another one like this, right next to that. A little shorter and a little bit off from how I drew that. And then the last one, we'll just go and slightly curve outward. And they don't have to look perfect. So there we go. Kind of have like three lines together, one pointing to the left, one pointing to the right, and kind of one near the center. So the second step of the Art Doodle is to draw the center of your flower. So you can go ahead and draw the best circle you can to fill out the center. You can see that the flower on the right-hand side is kind of slowly kind of drooping down. Now the third step is to start to add our petals. So one by one we'll go around and we'll start to add petals. There's no rhyme or reason to how many you put on, and they can be all kinds of different sizes. You're gonna go ahead and add on your petals to every single center of each of the three flowers. So there we go. It's kind of like a coloring book style of drawing, more like illustration, which is one of my favorite ways to draw. So then we have our three centers, our three stems, and then our three petals. So then after this, what we're going to do is we're going to draw on the vase, and this is a really cool way to draw something 3D. I'm going to start with a curved line towards the back of my flowers, and each time I hit one of the stems, I'm going to make sure that my line doesn't go through. So I've got one curved line going through the back. After that, I'm going to loop around and make kind of a flattened oval, again stopping before I hit each of the stems. Then it's up to you to decide what kind of vase shape you would like for your flowers. I'm going to do one that's a little bit kind of hourglass curved like this, and try my best to kind of make it as symmetrical as possible, meaning the same on both sides. So now we have the sort of flowers inside the vase. Okay, now we're going to talk about how to add pattern and texture. You might decide different ways of doing this, but one of the greatest ways I like to add texture to things is using dots and lines. So I'm going to make each center of my flower a little bit different. I'm going to be using some dots on this center, turning my drawing a little bit, kind of like how I like to draw. And then this one's going to have kind of like a cross-hatching pattern, like this. And then I'll turn it again, and maybe this one will have some zigzag patterns. These are crazy looking flowers. Now I'm going to be working on the petals. Starting from the inside out, I'm going to choose different types of lines to fill out my petals. And I'm going to change the direction of those lines and the different types of lines. So let's talk about that. You can have zigzag lines and straight lines, diagonal lines, dashed lines, and they're all going to look a little bit different, and that's okay. I'm going to actually try to create a different pattern each time on each petal, just to make it look really patchwork, almost like a quilt. This one I'll use kind of tic-tac-toe patterns, cross back, and then here I'll use some zigzag lines. Maybe on this one I'll use some squiggly lines, those are kind of cool. This one I'm going to keep the lines super close together. And then maybe this one I'll just add one or two lines, not too many. This one, larger blocks, maybe with a line down the center. And this one, some really skinny lines back and forth. I'm going to do the same thing to my third flower. Shapes back and forth. Maybe this one can have dots. Maybe this one will have circles, inside circles. That's kind of cool. This one I'll do another kind of zigzag, but a little bit larger. And then maybe this one I'll do some dashed lines back and forth and show you how to put this together. So after I get done drawing the petals and doing the flowers, I'm going to add on some decorations around the background around my leaf. So I'm going to add some leaves to the background, just kind of any kind of shape leaves I would like to. And some of them are just kind of flowing inside and outside the vase, back and forth. And for these, I'm just going to add a line down the center. You can choose how you would like to actually add your details back and forth. After that, I'm going to add a line in for the background behind my vase. This kind of makes like a table in front of me. Now, we didn't get into perspective too much for this lesson because we're really concentrating more on pattern and shape, but I'm going to show you how to fake a perspective. You can just draw some diagonally or slanted lines that can kind of converge or meet in the middle. And this creates a little sense of depth on your tablecloth area where the vase is now looks like it's sitting. And I've added some wavy lines around that as well. Now maybe in the bottom of the vase I want to add some more pattern. So I'm going to pretend that I have filled the bottom of my vase with all kinds of rocks and pebbles. So I'm going to go ahead and add all kinds of roughly drawn circles, different sizes, different diameters, all the way through to kind of fill in the bottom of my vase. And this is a great way of doodling, lots of patterns and shapes. And as I get close to the top or where the stems are going to dive in, I'm going to just decrease the size of my circles all the way around. This is a really fun way of doodling. And after you get done your doodle, you can actually color these in. This is a fun thing to do and add patterns. So let's kind of review a couple of the things that we did today. We added some patterns and some colors to the flowers and petals, to the centers. We added some leaves. We draw a three-dimensional vase today, as well as adding in a tablecloth. The last couple things I'm going to do is just add a couple little details. I might put a rim around the inside of my vase. And after that, I might put in a couple lines here just down the side of my vase to add a little bit of interest. You can go ahead and add some more pattern to your background. You can add more flowers in, more leaves. But this is our art doodle, our very first art doodle for today. And don't forget to sign it on the bottom with your signature as an artist. And go ahead and feel free to color that in later or just leave it black and white. Thanks for joining us for our very first One Studio Smooch art doodle.